Yeah, all right out there. So, we all know our pentatonic positions, or maybe we don't, but at least some. And so, something I've noticed in my own students is just kind of centering around knowing two of the positions. So, what we're going to do is work on riffs in each position and then maybe show you the most popular ways, or the most common, I should say, ways that a lot of people use each position. Now, straight off the bat, there's a real cool, one of my favorite bends is another step and a half bend. You're bending from the 12th fret to the 15th fret. Now, what I'll typically do is I throw in a passing tone. So from there, I just go 12, 11, 10. I'm going to cheat a little bit and throw in a passing tone. And then I'm going to bend this note up right here, which is the 13th fret. And then resolve to the A note again, which is the 10th fret. Now, one thing to keep in mind when you bend here, it's the same as bending the 8th fret of the E, right? This bend, the 8th fret of the B, is on the 12th fret of the G. So learn those bends on other strings and other parts of the neck, because it'll set you up for different kind of riffs. Now right there, I bent up a whole step and then I went up 2 steps. So, the bottom 3 strings of the 3rd position are awesome for those huge bends. Now, another really common use of this position is the top 3 strings. So I'm doing that stacking. And it's a good place to segue from position 3 to position 4. So we can go. And get into the position 4 riffs, which is, just about as popular as, so if you had all the positions, if I had to say position 1, 2, and 4 are the most common. So 3 is a great place to is right here on the 12th fret of the A string. So use those top 3 strings, the E, the A, and the D, so we can bend down that 10th fret of the D, resolve to that A. I'll bend down that D note, the 12th fret of the D string, a whole step, resolve to that A. You can also slide into position 4. So we got D's a good sliding string. Right, so there's the kind of the lower strings, the different kinds of riffs you can do there. Now keep in mind, this totally opens up when you start throwing in passing tones. Right, and start throwing in all that other kind of stuff right there. But right now we're sticking strictly to just minor pentatonic. Now, position 4. We're going to have 12 and 15 on the first 2. The next 2 strings are going to be 12, 14. Then we're going to have 13, 15, and then 12, 15. Now, I would say the G string down gets used the most. You got to bend into A. You can do that cool bend. That's just bending up the the B 15th fret. And then I'm going to grab with my pinky, or if you're bending with your second finger, your third finger, to grab the high E of the same fret. So I'll bend this note all the time with that quarter note. We got an A right there. So we got an A here, and then a bending up to the A. I like that one a lot. So I went G14, D14. Then I go down to the 12, the G14, and then I'm going to go 13, quarter note bend, and then back to 14 on the G. And I add in that one bend. So what I did there is I bent up, release, that's 15, B, do our quarter note bend, and then 15, E. Or stuff like that. Now, the fifth position, interestingly enough, doesn't get used a whole lot other than the top two strings. Now, let's go over it, but I'm going to play it down here, but I'll show you since we're already up here. It's going to have 4 of the exact same frets on, or 2 of the same frets on 4 of the strings. So on the first 2 and the last 2, it's all going to be 15 and 17. Then we're going to have 14, 17, and then back to 15, 17. Now this is another position where you have cool, huge bends. That would be the B string, and then I'm bending up the 17 a step and a half. You can do that on the E as well. Right, so you can do those huge bends. You can bend that kind of stuff on the middle part. But let's go down here. This is really where a lot of that ZZ Top kind of stuff comes in. Okay, so we're doing the top 2 strings. It's going to be 3 and 5 down here. But I'm just going. Again. Right? So if we were to chain some of these together, right? And so that's how you would kind of chain the stuff together. You can go all the positions and do those typical runs. Right? And do all that kind of stuff. Now, later on in the game, when you start adding the passing tones, But I'm using the same kind of patterns and ideas, even though there's more notes, there's more passing tones in those runs I just did. I'm using the same basic ideas, the same spots that I would have. And I'm just applying them in different spots. Now, and one other thing to think about is don't always do the same rhythm, right? You'll hear that all the time, but if you went... and you mix up the timing so it doesn't sound like one long run with no difference in the time, right? Right? You get the point. So and just keep it, mellow. But mess with all those things again. Check the different spots. Memorize every one of those positions. It's invaluable to learn all those pentatonic positions. You'll see them all over the place. You'll start to hear that kind of stuff, that kind of phrasing, whether it's blues or rock guitar playing, all over. Keep it simple. I tried to keep everything really simple, really basic, down to just bare bones riffs, because that is the foundation of everything. You can always learn to shred and do all that fast, all that stuff later. Just get a nice foundation and then work from there. Take a simple thing, move it up here, to different spots on the neck. Take that same idea and just go up. So take the exact same pattern and just go through all the different shapes. Just try a bunch of stuff and see where it takes you. All right, that should be enough food for thought. Now get to practicing.